Well, today is Monday the 18th. It's about 7 o'clock now. Head in the workshop. Some packages did arrive today from Kaiser. All my seals are finally arrived. Those cheap packages. Those arrived finally. So I dropped those off at Patrick's house for the doors. And it does include the front windshield and back window seals too. We'll do that in summertime, not now. So those arrived. And then I got one more of these clips for the hood. So I replaced one and replaced one on this side, but I still got to do one more here. So yeah, bend that a little more. Okay. All right, so that also came in the mail. And then an update on the truck itself and since the last week or two. So, where to start? Engine bay, nothing new to talk about except my radiators now installed from Champion Radiators. Vince's Jeeper. That's in. The next thing is my starter is now missing. I dropped it off at the local shop that does all my starter rebuilds. I don't mind sending the Sal, but Sal's I'm gonna spend $30 or so in shipping and then ship it back. Sal does good work, but the shipping is always a hassle. I can just take it to town. I'm doing an errand anyway, dropping off a box. So I dropped it off. I'll let you know tomorrow what it needs. So all that. So basically my starter, it does work. The stator does work electronically, all good. I put 750 cranking amps to it. New battery I have on the bench. Ultima, so it's all good, but it's not pushing that gear out. It's not turning. It's turning, but it's not spinning out. So either probably the spring's broken or it's just so gummed up. I've sprayed it. I burst power to it. Nothing helps. So it needs a new drive. I'm told, by 80 bucks. That's fine. I did message Sal an email. It's like maybe I should just upgrade to a high torque starter. He says, if you just rebuild what you have, there's no need to go high torque. So I'm just gonna repair what I need, fix it up, rebuild it, and we're good to go. It is a 9-tooth gear on my starter. And then Sal asked me to measure the diameter of the gear. Like, well, I can't get my calipers in there. But at the shop, they have special calipers, and I think it's like 20 by 32. It was sized too, but anyhow, that's why that's out. And after that, it goes back in. Once it's fixed, I can fire up. So we're ready to fire up, minus the starter. All right, on to engine cabin. Nothing new at all, except we have one more shifter to play with. So Overdrive's now installed. So now we have a Saturn Overdrive. So it needs adjusted still, but it does shift at least. So that's in. Still gotta adjust those, plus Seth's video, right eye calf, says to put a nut down here, which I agree. It's like, nah, I'm good. Go back to there, it's all kind of bent. It's like, yeah, we wanted to put the nut on, so that's fine not to put it on. All right, that's it for the engine bay. Oh, cabin. Long day, tired at work. Back here, my air tank is now mounted. I put brackets on, welded them on, went down, bolted, it's on. I masked off the hole so I don't get dirt, dust inside the tank. It keeps it clean. Back here we have my taillights mounted. Kaiser Willys brackets. So they're on. The taillights had some, for when you buy them, little label. So I got the heat gun and scraped it off. No more label on it. So that's it for this. And then down below, drive shaft's fixed. So drive shaft wasn't bad. Just that we're up front where the splines are. This back here was not equal to the front. It was like offset 90 degrees. So fixed it. Nothing crazy, but it might help him balancing, I'm told. So easy fix. And I got my handbrake assembly installed. No cables yet, but at least I have it mounted. That's one step ahead. So that's done. And then up there, of course, we have Overdrive on. And it took me about 3 hours total by myself, working on it. But it's in. My main challenge was measuring it. So you got to check the depth. You need 0.677, the spec from the casting of the T-case to the Overdrive bow gear. And I was getting like 0.69, a bit too much. And so it's like I posted in the group trying to get help. I could message Sal. That's who I bought it from. But it's Saturday, I don't want to bug him. Posted the group and he comments on the group. Back and forth, and I said, like, I'm gonna remeasure myself. I only measured in one spot, the spot where Seth shows in the video. I'm gonna check top, bottom, side to side. Add it all up, divided by 4, they get the average, and it came to like 0.6875. That's much better, at least. I hear better. It came to spec. Post group my new information, so you're good to go. And also I did crank it down a little bit more tighter, where it bombs out you stop and then check measurements, but I still put a little more power to it by hand. All right, so that's that, we're good there. And the next trouble was the, of course you have to torque it to 100 to 120 torque with a little kind of custom nut washer they give you. I torqued it to 100 and it fit in perfectly. Like, well, no need to go any higher, fits in perfectly. So that's in, and after that was the square snap ring. So that went in easy, but trying to get into the slot where it stays in, doesn't fall out, was the challenge there. And the last hard part was when you install the main Overdrive units on, you got to put a little tray on the left side for the oil to go into and help for the back bearing. It went fine, but trying to slide it past the bow gear in the T-case housing, it was a very tight tolerance, so I had to get it some pliers and crush it a little bit, so to get better tolerance to get through past. That's about it. My challenges were, yeah, it's in. I put RTV around the gasket on both sides, just so the gasket doesn't move and leak as much. And then at the very top, finger. Okay, it's not gonna be hard with that top one. It's got the O-ring on the bolt as told in the video. Anyway, that's all on. Let's go back to number 1. And then the last part is my rear drive shaft. Of course, I fixed the drive shaft, but my rear yoke output was leaking oil badly. After it got rebuilt, put oil in it and it just leaked for 2 months in the garage. So Bob said, just buy a new yoke, new old stock, if you could find one. I can't. And then RTV the spline, clean it, RTV it, and reinstall. And so I'll get to the bench now. So I've ordered one. Ordered one from Kaiser. It arrived, and not a big thing, but it got this edge lip, it was bent down, say a 1/4 inch down. It's easy fix, but it's not how it should be shipped to you. You spend nearly 40, 60 bucks for this, and it's all bent here. I mean, glad it's not the casting, it's just tin or metal. Easy to fix, but still. I shared it with someone, it's like, just call them. You might get an extra one in the mail. And just so I did, 2-3 days later, another one arrived. Much better shape. Little protector on it too. So we're good. Now I have a good one now. I fixed the other one's good. Now I got 2 good ones. So next thing was to take the yoke off and swap it out and RTV it. So I took the old yoke off, 1/8" socket. And I was down there, my pack is next to me, but it's like, I want to just see how loose it is just by hand, using a 1/2" ratchet. No, it's not, it's motion sensor. So I just took this with an 1/8" big socket, did that, and by hand, the nut came off. It should be torqued to 100 to 120 torque. I don't think by hand I have that much strength. So it's like that nut was loose. and that's why it was leaking through the splines and the threads, not really on the outside of the seal part. So in that case, I would say it never was torqued down right, was why it's leaking. I just kind of played it where how Bob rebuilt it, and I'm sure he torqued it, and I never double checked on that for the back outputs. The front is okay, front's not leaking, but the back is. So it's not torqued. And so still took it off, cleaned it, still put RTV on it as an additive, and then the back yoke cleaned that as well. Reinstalled it. The back of the yoke, like back in here, there's a little felt piece that goes down. That felt piece was just bone dry. So it's leaking through the splines, not on the seal itself. So the seal is good. Just the splines are just a little bit offset because it's not tight on, it's leaking through that way. So that kind of explains. So now I have 2 spares for the future. So I just put it back on, impacted on kind of tightly, number 2 setting, torqued it with 100 foot-pounds on the torque wrench, and since the truck's in the air, the drivetrain's all turning. I have it in gear to make sure it won't spin on me, and yet the front tires are turning. It's like, okay, set it on the ground. Now I'm kind of laying on the ground, not in the air anymore. And then now it's, instead of the tires, now it's going through the motor. It's just so much torque. So it's like, even the torque wrench won't do it slowly. So plus not much room to work now, since I'm on the ground now. So I was like, just send it. Use the impact gun. I know the Milwaukee goes to 1500 torque, roughly 1200, 1500 torque. Don't use that one, but use my 1/2 inch. And that one, I don't know what it goes to, but number 2 is resetting, full power. It only turned a little bit extra, like that's enough. So we're good. I still got to add oil back in. Now the overdrive is now installed, yoke's fixed, add time to add oil, but I want to find a CJ for the floor on CJ5s like Hawkeye had. Right in this area, there's the 2 bolts here, take one out, and then this whole thing pivots. And you have access to this grease fitting for these, or for oil port, I'm not sure, but I'd like to add one in on this truck. So I have just take this off, pivot, then I have direct access to the fill port for the T-case. And also probably easy, it's not that big enough room to, it's just for the oil port then. So I'm gonna do that mod, but I need to find that oil floor piece somewhere. So that's my next thing to buy that make maintenance easier. And so I'm not gonna get a quart bottle, hose it, pump it by hand, which I have one, it's annoying to use. Don't have a pump, electric pump, so I would use gravity here. That always works the best. So that's what needs done still. Alrighty, what else? That's about it. So let's talk about things are still due to do. And I need to get things all done before, let's go to the bench, before I get to what needs done still. So on the bench here first, battery tray. This is for my Ultima yellow top battery for my accessory for the winch, the front and back winch, onboard air compressors. And so I have this thing I got, and we're trying to make it fit right in here. More up front, I'm not sure, but fit it in this area. I have enough height just to check my width. I'm gonna tie it to there, tie it to the engine mount. So that's the plan. So I need to make that mount, not the battery, wire up the winches, compressors, all get wired up. All right, that's it for the bench, besides my radio and my winch and everything else. Engine bay, again, just my choke, my throttle cables put on. Top off my brake reservoir, but I'm gonna wait till everything's done and then pull tires off. And when I want to bleed my brakes plus do the reservoir at the same exact time. So I'm gonna wait. I know this cylinder here is leaking oil badly. The rest have been okay for storage. All right, so that's that. Nothing else. I guess for wiring, headlights need done still. My reverse wire, reverse lights, my fuel gauge, go to the dashboard. Those need wired up. I have this wire needs wired up for my radiator fan, Mercedes-Benz 240D 1983 fan. Need to wire it up to my fuse box. All right, so that's that. I gotta do my positive wire for my wiper motor. That just needs power. So I'm gonna run that wire to this positive post, but there's no fuse for it, I don't believe. So just like this, add a fuse in between. So that's that to do. And then back here, tail, it just needs wired. The wires are ready, it just needs wired. Quick connect, but shortened. And my reverse wire is the red wire. The black one's my fuel. Need wired up. That's it there. The rear axle. My spring purchase, need new purchase put on. And after that, adjust caster. And then run my brake line across, which I have over there, brake line. And then on the thing right there, it's missing its little mount. So I got a piece of angle iron, drilled some holes. So now I gotta drill one more size bigger. My bits are stopped. I'm no more bigger, so I gotta make a air tool and really grind at it and make it fit this part. After that, I can just bolt it on. We're good to go for brake line mounts. Then here, my door, passenger side door right here, all repaired. This is a patch panel piece from Jeepster Man. So that's in. Paid the guy to do it. It's okay. Better than I can do, at least. I'm not gonna argue. But there's still some minor, but it's old sheet metal, new sheet metal is hard to get to. So I'm gonna bondo in here a bit. But I'm not gonna be bondoing the door until my back bed's in the garage. So I can do both bondo on the fenders and my doors, same exact time. For dust, do it all at once. And the truck will be out of the shop, or at least covered up with some tarps, so I keep dust off my truck. So that's it, just bondo this up, paint it red, paint it blue. Pretty much just from this point down. And then up here, I'm gonna drop this door off after it's all painted and get this window frame rebuilt. So on the road, this thing just simply wants to close on its own. So the spring with the nut needs tightened. There's much more to it that needs done. It's that bad. It needs a bushing, but I'm sure the frame's shot somewhere in there. So that needs replaced. So that's that. And the rest of the door, there's no lock here, but the internal lock needs to be working. And then after that, I have the whole kit for the gaskets. And so I'm just going to be replacing, I might just give the door to him. I might do it anyway. But at minimum, new gasket here. Since we're doing the window, new gasket here. And that's about my priorities I have with this door. The rest of it we can always overhaul after July, because after July, second week of July, I'm free. Nothing planned the rest of the year except just car shows. So I don't mind taking the door off, get it fixed. So there's that. And then back here, I have some custom parts made. So I went to Amazon, get some tow hooks. Had the guy weld them on, 3/16 plate, I believe, or it's definitely not 1/4 inch, probably 3/16. 3/8 size holes. And this thing will mount back here. I'm trying to use factory holes. So, right there. So I need to drill these out a little bit extra big. It's perfect, but I want some minor tolerance play, so I want to drill these out a little bit more. I did send a message to Ian Johnston. Not a big deal, but he does welding. Just showed him the welds, not my welds, but the guy I paid to get them done. So they're good, they're strong enough. I said, I'm worried about the plate bending. He says, well, it wouldn't bend if you didn't put the hole so out there wide. If you put it more inwards, it wouldn't bend the plate. Okay, I agree with that, but I'm trying to use factory holes instead of trying to drill new holes. So, yeah. That's my reasoning. And he said it should be okay still. Truck weighs 5,000 pounds, times at 1.5 in case you're extra muddy and heavy overweight. They're strong enough still. And plus, if I ever want to do some logging and towing trees, I won't be towing off those. I mean, I could and run a strap from here to there and tie it to a Y. That's probably the best equal pull, or else pull off center. But center, there's no structure mounts, really. Just really just pulling on the gas tank. Anyway, there's that. My radios are back. The guy was gonna make some custom mounts. He left his job, retired, and has his own automotive shop now, restorations. And so the file he had for the laser to make the panel bracket has been lost at work. So he just gave them back to me. So I gotta figure out mounts myself. So CB will be on bottom, GRMS radio on top. I gotta figure out some kind of custom mount, plate just flat steel with a bend up to mount this radio, and the mount down, the mount to the CB, and then some other kind of mount in between, whatever, the mount to the floor of the Jeep to be secure. With some still minor adjustability. Try to make it simple, but not complicated, but simple. That's my challenge. So I have in my head, I just don't know how to make it. So there's that to make. And those will be mounted in front of my bench seat, but behind the shifters. So right in this area, they'll be mounted. So there's that. And that's really it for the video. Now I'll talk about things I still want to get done and do before off-roading at Secretary Off-Road Park in May 16th, I believe, on Thursday. I can live with how the truck is, but once you ruin your rockers, they're ruined. And I don't want to break my rockers after spending big money on body work and door repair, and so I need some sliders made. This is too heavy duty. I can say that much. It's heavy. It's made for four-wing suspension for a 1-ton Dana 60 axle, but a little bit offset by 1 inch, tapered off and curves in to mount to the frame. And I'm thinking about just making it so simple. Runs like this, and then kind of ties, make it a little bit flat. So elbow there, sticks off a bit. And I want it tied to the frame, but also I want to keep it running back more. Just because I don't want my compressors being ruined. And also the rock slider continues, so you slide and the tire catches. Versus it drops off and the tree bounces inside. Then breaks the fender. So I want those made at minimum. And then we have extra time. I'm sure we will do for bending wise. Bending may just take a day, a lot of welding though. I want to make a roll cage. Simple as heck, but some means of roll cage. Make it so it goes there, plate, 4 holes. At the bottom, 4 holes, and then pipe to the part that goes in that way of the frame. Ties into there. And this just goes up. 1 big coupe bar. Just simple, but something than nothing. For Bantam, this as a cabin, counts as a roll bar, we're good. But I just added the bonus just in case that one day it happens. And then with this, my speaker that I want to mount up there is designed to mount the roll bars for side-by-sides. So that's perfectly good to mount. Now, if I don't do the roll bar idea and I mount the speaker first, and the holes are drilled through the cab, I'm okay with it still. Then if I do roll bar, I'm still okay because I still need to have my bed lights that mount here and shine the back bed up at night. And so I don't mind still that being used, and yeah, I do roll bar, I'm okay. And then, next big idea is to do some molly rack, some molly panel across, 12-inch offset, all the way down to mount stuff too. That's really about it. But that's just added extra. Anyway, that's really it for the video. Yep, that's it. Alrighty, what else? That's about it. So on price on the truck, currently I'm probably at $17,100-ish into the truck so far. And then now add starter rebuild. Still gonna do air tank hose wires to get it compressor to work. What else? That's major expense coming up soon. That's about it, really. That's about it. I mean, battery terminals, the back winch wires to get extended. That's about it for heavy gauge. So that's what's left. And then, yeah. And at some point, I got my 4 9-inch in the barn. I gotta build that up this summer. New axle shafts, bearings, disc brakes, air locker units, 538 gears. So there's that to do. And then the front axle, I'm still trying to hunt down a Dana 44 front, passenger side diff, disc brake. And so I'm trying to find one. I did find a J series J20 truck for sale, $1,000 or parts nearby. Oh, it's a 1 ton. Yeah, I could change the logs or something, but the flanges, but cheap axle, I'll take it. But like, which is it's passenger side diff, everything I need. Disc brakes, perfect. Leaf springs, perfect. But the axle itself entirely is like 10 inches or so too wide, so I can't use it. I tried. So, I don't know. But not till after July, August. I really want to start hunting for front axles to build up. And then after Thanksgiving, swap axles, do disc brake conversion, master cylinder. So that's what I'm going to do this coming winter, disc brakes and axles. And then 2025, diesel swap. And then the build will be done. No more money in the truck. So probably at $25,000 in the truck. Hopefully it'll be done. Probably much more. So I know an air locker at the back, 4 9-inches, like $2,000 new, but we'll see. All right, that's enough. So thanks for watching on this week's update for Jenny.